The term I use is we need to marry your comfort monthly payment with the sales price. So like when I'm doing a pre-qual with a borrower, first thing I say to them is, look, more than likely, I'm gonna be able to qualify you for more home than you wanna afford. That's not how I do business, nor should that be the way that anyone does business. In fact, if you were around for 2006, 7, and 8, that's how we got into the predicament, because people lost track of what they were comfortable paying, and all of a sudden it's just a matter of, well, what can you qualify me for? So let's not repeat some of history's blemishes. How do we do it? I mean, it's learning how to run a payment. I mean, it's honestly, it's that simple. So the first question I'd have for that consumer is, well, how much money do you have allocated to go towards the transaction? If you notice, I did not ask them how much money do you have. I need to know how much money you have, but at the same time, I want to differentiate myself from the competition. If you have $20,000, I might not want to recommend you use all 20 grand. Because think of yourself, always think of yourself. Is it safe for you as a person to go and buy the most expensive purchase of your life and leave yourself with no money in the bank? Is it even advisable? Does it even make common sense? But people would do it if we allowed them to. So I would ask someone, well, okay, first, Cam, and if you're my consumer, I'd love to help you figure out what does $1,600 a month buy you? But I need to know, how much money are we playing with? How much money have you set aside either from your 401k, from mom and dad, grandma dying, selling your truck, whatever the case may be? How much money do you have to go towards this transaction? You have $11,000, and I know you're gonna need at a minimum 3 to 3.5% down, right? 3.5% to do an FHA loan, 3% if I can qualify you for a conventional loan. So off the top of my head, I need to figure out, well, if they just had enough for down payment. Now I still have to worry about closing cost. By the way, on a $250,000 loan or purchase, look at your sheet, how much are closing costs gonna be? $7,500. So in this instance, already I'm thinking, well, crap, this person has 11 grand, which by the way is a lot of money to have saved, right? If I stole $11,000 from you, you'd probably call the cops. You'd be very mad. Yes, it's a lot of money for someone to save, but unfortunately, when you're buying a house, 11 grand barely covers your closing costs. So automatically, I'm thinking this person's gonna need the seller to pay their closing costs, which by the way, just FYI, for anyone who has been asleep at the wheel, we're in one of the hardest markets for home buyers. There is such a lack of inventory that getting a seller to accept your offer is like winning the lottery, let alone imagine trying to get the seller to accept your offer and contribute towards your closing costs. If this was 2011, all day long, right? They may even wax your car for you. But in 2021, it's not the case because there's no inventory out there. There's no inventory out there for two reasons. One, builders are not building at the pace we need them to build. Why are builders not building? Well, A, they can't find cheap, affordable land. B, they can't find skilled labor because no one wants to go into the trades. And C, lumber prices are through the roof. If anyone wanted to ask you, well, why aren't builders? Why don't they just go out there and build? Well, they would love to. Builders love to go out and make money. If they can make money, if they can find cheap land, if they can find skilled labor, and if they can find cheap materials. They can't. And then you top that on with, people just aren't moving. There's no pressure. People who would have some pressure, those unfortunately that are furloughed currently who can't pay their mortgage payments, well, rightfully so, but our US government has through stimulus said you don't have to. So those people in a normal downturn from an economy would say, oh shit, I can't pay my mortgage. Good news is I have a ton of equity. Let me sell my home, cash out, and now I at least can live on this cash for the next 18 months until I find myself back on my feet. But if there's a moratorium saying you don't have to pay your mortgage payment, you can live rent-free in your own house, why would you sell it? You wouldn't. So that's also contributing to what we're up against. Back on your scenario, I will circle back, I promise. So now I know, talking to this consumer, they have 11 grand, maybe down payment assistance. Are they a first-time home buyer? So already I'm thinking, oh, are you a first-time home buyer? I'm thinking first-time home buyer because I'm thinking maybe you would qualify for down payment assistance. Or I should say be eligible and then qualify. By the way, down payment assistance programs, just because I'm talking about it, they typically are always for first-time home buyers, but first time really means I haven't bought in the past 3 years.